be precise. And in that meeting, there were a number of decisions that we took. One of the decisions was to request the speaker to have a further investigation into the incident that happened during the State of the Nation address. And subsequent to that decision, I then submitted a letter to the speaker requesting that we should be furnished with a legal opinion. Because if members remember, our deliberations were such that we were not sure as to how should we proceed, given our observation of the developments on that day. So we've since been waiting for the legal opinion. We have been sending a couple of reminders to find out exactly where the delay is. And as I said 2 or 3 weeks back, it's something that I particularly was not happy with, because the mandate that we got from the office of the speaker was that the matters that were referred to us must be dealt with as expeditiously as possible. And so there was something which was out of our hands, because we had to rely on the office of the speaker to procure the services of that opinion. And so I guess maybe as a part of the presentation of the opinion, we might, I think we should be furnished with some explanation as to the delay in getting this legal opinion. So that's why we're meeting during this period, because we thought that we don't have to waste even more time, that we should see if we can dispose of these matters that have been sent to us. I think the other issue was also the appointment of an initiator, which we asked that the office of as members remember, our discussion was such that we should avoid assigning the staff of parliament to perform that task. So we thought that let's get an external person. So we'll also be briefed today as to what are the progress in sourcing the services of the initiator. So Namhla, what is, just confirm what is on the agenda. Namhla, are you there?
I'm here, Chair. There's the agenda, Chair.
Okay. It's the legal opinion on the SONA, report on the external initiator, and the program. Basically, these are the two matters that I was talking about. So the minutes, we considered the minutes.
No, Chair, the minutes have not been considered. We need to consider the minutes now.
Yeah, but they are not on the agenda. I think let's number 5 be consideration of the minutes of that meeting of the 11th of March.
Yeah, it's there in number 4.
Oh, yes, it's here. Okay.
Yeah, it's there.
My apologies. Apologies. Okay. Any issues, members? Can we adopt this agenda? We've already received one apology from Honorable Stock Dikgang. That is the only apology that we received. Any other apologies?
No, Chair, I didn't receive further apologies.
Okay. Can we move to item number 3? Adoption of the agenda.
Chairperson, I move for the adoption of the agenda. Honorable Suela.
Thank you, Honorable Suela. Any seconder?
Chairperson, I second Dipo Peters.
Honorable Peters. Okay, I think let's go to the draft minutes. I hope members have received the minutes because, as I said, some of the members did indicate, or one member, the Honorable Deputy Chief Whip, did indicate that she did not receive the invitation, meaning that she also did not receive the documentation. So maybe just to be sure.
I also did not receive anything, Honorable Chair. I just saw the meeting on the list of meetings that are supposed to happen this week, but I didn't receive any invitation. And the minutes I don't have.
Is it?
I don't know whether they don't have my email address.
No, I did send on the first email that I sent to members with the link. I attached all the
I didn't even get to the link.
Okay, let's just do this. I think Namta will just verify after this meeting the details of the members, their email addresses, the telephone numbers, and so forth. But as I said, after issuing the invite in future, let's try and follow up, especially if we're meeting during the constituency period, because members don't expect to be called to meetings here. All right, the minutes are on the screen. Anything on page 1? If we can move, Namsha. Okay, nothing on page 1. Page 2 starts with referral matters to the committee. Anything under discussions there? Nothing under discussions. Can we move to page 3?
Chairperson, just a point of, I don't know what it's called, but clarity seeking question. I've noted, can I speak, Chairperson?
Yeah, go ahead, Honorable Peters.
I have observed that in our minutes, there is no distinction between members and officials who are presenting to the committee. But also, Chairperson, I just want to find out, is it correct to reflect, like, for example, the paragraph that refers to Dr. Lotrid and Ms. Peters, as well as other members, they speak about informing. I just want to find out, how do we inform a committee on something that we are also hearing about? So I just want to know, is it raising an issue or informing? Because if I participate in a meeting, I don't inform the meeting. I'm raising a point of clarity, a point of emphasis, a point of whatever. I'm raising a point, not informing. So I just want to find out whether that is a correct reflection of how the minutes should be captured. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Peters. Do you have any suggestion? Do you have any proposal on how we should rephrase it? I think it is the style of the committee secretary how she took the minutes. But I think you are right that I think what members were doing on that day when we're discussing was making proposals, making suggestions, and reflecting on the mandate of of the committee. And I think when we were viewing the video, members were doing reflections. They were reflecting on what they were observing. And I think that's how it should be captured. But I don't
Chairperson,
know.
Dr. Lottridge speaking.
Lottridge?
Yes, Chair, if I recall at that particular point, as you say, we were discussing the particular issues and we were gathering information, and that was my contribution to that discussion. So I did inform the committee. So I don't know how else one will put it, because I didn't ask a question. I wasn't informed by someone else. I indeed informed the committee. Now, one could perhaps say that Dr. Lottridge was of the opinion, even though it could be a matter of fact that I'm actually stating. So I don't have a major problem in changing it, but then it should still be a true reflection of what actually transpired.
Okay. So your part was, you were correctly captured what you were saying. I think Honorable Peters was saying that we need to reformulate the paragraph that refers to her informing the committee. I think it was a reflection, and if Honorable Peters is able to contribute, I take your point, Honorable Lottridge. Maybe
Chairperson, may I speak?
Okay.
Honorable Manuleke.
Oh, Honorable Manuleke, yes, you can come in.
Yes, Chair. I'm not sure whether the format of the minutes are not the same with other committees, because really in committees we raise issues, but we are not identified as Honorable Maluleke said 1, 2, 3. If we are going to take this style of saying Honorable Lottridge inform the committee on what, because we were observing that video. So she was stating the fact that there are no provisions. So it's her contribution towards the meeting. So I'm not sure whether is it correct for us to have a minute where everybody who's contributing something, then that person is written as one who said 1, 2, 3. I'm not sure. I just want to get clarity on that one, because I feel what Honorable Peters is saying is correct. We don't have to say, because even if Maluleke said 1, 2, 3, it is the committee who agreed on 1, 2, 3. So it should not be identified as individuals who said 1, 2, 3, because if we are going to capture our records like that, then I'm not sure whether it is the correct thing. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Honorable Peters.
Yes, Chair.
You're the one who raised this. Do you have a proposal on how we should formulate the? I will come back to the points raised.
Yes, Chairperson. I think the way it's captured, for me, it creates a problem, because it then seems to suggest that I came with external information added to what was presented, which then on Dr. Lottridge, it is correct that she informed the committee that there are no provisions, or she raised in the committee that there are no provisions in the powers and privileges. But the second paragraph goes on to say she made reference to section whatever. But what I'm saying here, it says, I informed the committee that an external a matter that I am bringing to the committee. I'm saying that I don't know what word to use, but it is, I didn't inform the committee. I was discussing what was being presented before the committee.
Okay.
And whether it should single out individual members, it's also a problematic, because these minutes are also not very consistent. There is paragraphs where it says the committee And then there are paragraphs where it says the chairperson and members of the committee, you know, and that is why chairperson, you see, like at the bottom there it says something, Mr. Mapulane and other members expressed. So there's no consistency in the way we capture this. But I also raised on whether the like, for example, Advocate Jenkins, Mr. Ngaleka, Dr. Lotrid, Miss Peters, Mr. Mapulana, is it not, if you are going to identify individual role players, is it not appropriate then to differentiate between members of the committee as well as those who come to the committee to give presentations and support to the committee as the secretariat or as the legal advisors and all those, because it doesn't show who are members except in the attendance register. And underneath in the discussion, it doesn't show that. So I think it maybe it is the style of the committee secretary, like you said, Chairperson. But I think it's later on it is going to become problematic. So we need to correct it at the beginning. The minutes must be consistent to how Parliament minutes are captured. The minutes must also differentiate between a question, a statement, a point of clarity or whatever. So I think it's important that those issues be clarified. And maybe because of the lack of, the length of time it took us to consider these minutes, one would be challenged to give the actual phrasing that might be appropriate, but I think it needs to be attended to. If for this meeting we accept the minutes as are, let's accept them, but advise the secretariat to look at a method that is very consistent to how Parliament minutes are taken. Thank you, Chairperson.
Okay, thank you very much. I think members are right. There is a difference between a verbatim report of what transpired in the meeting and the minutes of the meeting. The minutes will normally be a summary of a long discussion, but capturing the essence of what the discussion were about. And I think we must also avoid, putting the names, because now it's individualizing or personalizing what was discussed in the broad meeting. So I think let's take that advice, Namhla, and try and draft the minutes in such a way that you capture the essence of the discussions of the meeting and avoid, if we have to express the names, it has to be within a context that there is no way that we cannot avoid to express the name of a person who made a point. But generally, I think let's draft the minutes consistent with how the minutes generally are drafted here in Parliament. I think that's the view that members are raising, and I think it's the correct view. So can we close it in that fashion, members? Going forward, I think if we have to put in the names, I think we must also differentiate whether these are members or this is staff or other guests who are invited to come and make presentations, so that there must be a difference between Mrs. Peters, Mr. Mapulane, Advocate Jenkins, to the person who's reading the minutes. Must understand that this is a member, this person was invited to make a presentation, or this is the legal advisor of Parliament. Okay, page 3. Anything on page 3? Can we go to page 4? The last page is page number 5. Okay. With those amendments, can we approve these minutes? Can I get a mover with the amendments that were made by the members and accepted by the meeting?
Chairperson, Mama Luleke.
Yeah, Honorable Maluleke.
Chairperson, I move for the adoption of the minutes with the amendments made by the committee members. Thank you.
Okay, there's a mover. Any seconder? Second.
Those who were present
Yeah.
was second. I'm abstaining.
I saw Honorable Peter's hand.
Yes, I second, Chairperson.
Thank you. Okay, can we then move to the next item, which is a briefing on the legal opinion that we received on the incident that took place during the State of the Nation address. And I
Sorry,
think
Chair.
members were listening to my
Sorry, Chair, before you move to the next agenda, on matters
Oh.
arising.
matters arising. Let's leave that one, Namhla. Let's go to the
Okay, Chair.
actual item. We were supposed to have identified the matters arising ourselves, because if we open it like that, we'll end up discussing each and everything. So there are two items that we have to deal with. It is the legal advice on what happened and develop a way forward out of that. And the next item is the feedback on the appointment of the initiator. Okay, I think members were listening to the issues I was raising, that there was a delay in getting this legal opinion. And without the legal opinion, there was no way that this committee can proceed, because we raised issues that needed to be clarified by council. So we are receiving this today. I've asked that legal services must present the legal opinion to us. I think it has been sent to the members. So the expectation is for legal services to summarize the issues and what was saying. But as I said, I think the committee does deserve an explanation on what were the cause of all the delays since March up to today in September. Who else? Who's from legal services? Who's going to take us through the opinion?
Chairperson, I'm here, Frank Jenkins.
Yes, Advocate Jenkins.
Morning, Honourable Chair, Honourable Members, colleagues and guests. Chair, I have with me two colleagues today, Tholoshni Yangan, who's going to deal with the legal opinion and just what happened with the briefing there. There was not much of a delay there. We brief state attorney. First we get the authority, and I'll get to that, and we brief state attorney, and then we instruct state attorney to brief counsel to give us the opinion. That was a period from July onwards. And Chair, after that, or when the committee permits it, my colleague who's also present today, Andile Tatiana, he will advise or brief the committee on the appointment of counsel for the inquiry itself. There was a time when we thought we were going to do the same person for both, but circumstances and I think also with the lockdown and the disaster management act which sort of brought a lot of things to a pace, slower pace, maybe a different council. Chair, just the beginning of the process in March, and then your letter to the speaker on services waiting to get further instructions for us to move forward and to brief processes pertaining to the budget and to make sure that we get control over these appointment of council for various things in Parliament, including for legal advice. And in May, a little bit of readjusting because of the disaster management regulations and because of the lockdown and working away from the office. So we probably struggled to hold the ball the way we should have. So there we've learned a few lessons. Some action, I mean, what we have in legal services, we are also, from my side, and my team was dealing with this, we also are lacking some admin support. But Chair, I think the main thing is we waited just for the go-ahead. We received the go-ahead. I'm not sure, maybe the National Assembly table can advise on that. We received the go-ahead from the Speaker's office, after which we then put together a memo, got the internal approval from the acting secretary for the expenditure. And there was some delay for us to get everything done there, Chair. Not extraordinary, but it's one delay started snowballing into the next. But we got the authority from the acting secretary around about middle July. And then from there, we move forward to brief state attorney in July and move forward to briefing council, and then got the opinion middle August back, which we then distributed. Chair, if I may just pause here and hand over to my colleague, Seloshni Gangan, who then in that period dealt with the state attorney and briefed council and then received the memo back, the opinion back. She compiled the memo through our office, and she can also says in the way forward. If that's in order, Chair. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that is in order. Let's get some briefing. And I think maybe what you are saying, Advocate Jenkins, if that chronology can also be put in writing so that the committee members can have that. Because I can guarantee you one of the questions that will be raised by everybody is going to be, what is the cause of the delay? It has been 5 months, maybe say 6 months since the 11th of March meeting where we decided on this question, and immediately, as you say, on the 19th of March, I did write a letter to the speaker. So there's been all this delay which you are now explaining, and I'm requesting that if that chronology can just be put together with the dates in writing and then sent for us so that it becomes part of our records.
That's fine, Chair. I will do that.
Okay. Ms. Gangen, we can't see you.
Good morning, Chair. I must apologize. I think I've got a problem with the camera on the laptop. So no matter where I sit, this is what you see. It needs to be repaired. Good morning, members. By way of background, a memorandum was drafted which summarized the external legal opinion concerning the SONA incident, which was referred to the Powers and Privileges Committee. The question for determination was whether the incident constituted contempt of Parliament as contemplated by the Powers and Privileges Act. The events, the SONA incident, was referred to the committee for deliberation and report, and the committee had divergent views on whether the conduct of the members constituted contempt of Parliament. Authorization was obtained to procure legal opinion, an external legal opinion, The questions for determination were whether the committee has jurisdiction to consider the complaint and whether the incident constituted contempt of Parliament as contemplated by the Act. On the latter question, Council pointed out that the schedule to the rules of the National Assembly envisages a procedure whereby the members are given an opportunity to put their version of events to the committee before any to contempt of Parliament. Council therefore avoided making a premature pronouncement, but emphasised that the Act envisages that conduct that falls within Section 13 of the Act and specifically read with the relevant parts of Section 7 would constitute contempt. Section 7 of the Act states prohibited acts in respect of Parliament and members. A person may not improperly interfere with or impede the exercise or performance by Parliament or a House or committee of its authority or functions. And E, while Parliament or a House or committee is meeting, create or take part in any disturbance within the precincts. In other words, Council is of the view that on the facts presented thus far, Section 7A and or E of the Act may be of relevance in that determination. On the question about whether the committee has jurisdiction, Council analysed the National Assembly Rule 214. Rule 214 matter referred to it by the Speaker relating to contempt of Parliament. And 2A, upon receipt of a matter relating to contempt of Parliament, the committee must deal with the matter in accordance with the procedure contained in the schedule to the rules of the National Assembly. And B, the committee must table a report in the Assembly on its findings and recommendations in respect of any alleged contempt of Parliament as defined in Section 13 of the Act. So, the committee must deal with the matter in accordance with the procedure as set out in the schedule on the Speaker's referral read with Rule 214. Though the question for consideration is to determine whether the conduct amounts to contempt, notion of the events of those to be charged have not been provided as envisaged by the procedure cannot make a determination at this juncture, as it is not possible at this stage to finally determine whether there has been a contravention. That Rule 214 read with the schedule, of allegations of misconduct and contempt, and once the procedure is followed, can a determination may be proffered amounts to contempt as the recommended procedure as envisaged in the schedule to the rules must be followed before the determination as to whether the conduct complained of constitutes contempt can be made. That is the summary of the external legal opinion, Chair.
Okay, and what is the proposed way forward arising from that summary?
That we need to follow the procedure in terms of the schedule to the rules. So there's a procedure that says exactly what we need to do. We need to give the members an opportunity to, and it's only once they have had an opportunity to respond, can we then proceed to determine whether there had been any contempt. It's the Audi alteram partem rule.
Okay.
States that whoever is charged needs an opportunity to be able to say what their version of events are, their side of the story.
Okay. Okay, maybe I must open for members if there are any questions. Are there questions to raise, honorable members? I see the hand of Honorable Ndlozi.
Thanks, Chairperson. Should I proceed?
Yeah, you may proceed.
Yes, thanks, Chair. I apologize that my video as well seems to give me problems. Once I switch it on, I can't connect properly. I have not, this is my first time coming to the meeting, so I did not see the complaint that the speaker wrote. And I find that there is a big problem, particularly if we are to consider several judgments that have been handed down in relation to several disturbances or interferences, and that have had to say something about the Powers and Privileges Act, which the legal opinion does not refer to. But the problem I'm pointing at is this constant referral to a party. The courts have pronounced themselves on several occasions that you could not say EFF members or DA members or ANC members. You could not do that, particularly when you're talking about conduct of members. You are to say which members, which member, and what has that member done. And that's the principal point of departure when we're dealing with, from a legal point of view. Anything you do from this perspective would fall apart in any court of law. And we've got a lot of legal resources to refer to guide us in consideration of any complaint referred to us. And I'm saying that any complaint which treats members as a group of a political party already falls short. And so it is in relation to this legal opinion, because I'm not aware of what the speaker wrote. So I would like a clarity why the language that they are using throughout is to speak about members of the EFF, members of the EFF. That would not be legally wise. I stand to be corrected if perhaps at the back of the mind everybody knows who are these members they are speaking about. Maybe in meetings before they've been individually referred to, but certainly that's not a proper legal language. And I'm saying that the courts have made it clear, if needs be, we could provide or furnish the committee with judgments in this regard. So that's the question I think I want to put to them, the first one. The second one may not certainly be to them, Chairperson. I don't know the scope of the conversation, if one can proceed to make comment on the legal opinion, what I think of it, and what I think the way forward should be, or are you restricting us only to questions?
Well, I think we can do both, but maybe because we have raised a number of questions, maybe let's start first with the questions, and then and check if other members have got questions as well. And after getting some clarifications of the questions, we can then interrogate the opinion itself and provide a way forward. Let's first start with the questions first. Honorable Lodred.
Chairperson, mine was a comment on what has been said now and also on the opinion. So I will reserve that until you open up for comments.
Okay, I think maybe let's just deal with the question of Honorable Ndlozi, I am gonna hand over to the legal support team to clarify some of the matters, but I think maybe as a way of background, I do need to indicate that we received a referral from the speaker and the matter was tabled and I think it was 80 seat. The members of this committee were appointed. We met in our first meeting to appoint the chairperson, for which I was appointed. And then we looked at our mandate. And I would propose that NAMHLA must supply Honorable Ndlozi with the minutes of all our meetings, our previous meetings, where we dealt with the referral to us. But I think all what we also did was to look at the decided cases. The previous court judgments were taken through by Advocate Jenkins of all the previous judgments, and I think Honorable Lotrid also as a person who was serving in the previous committee in the Fifth Parliament also took the committee through some of the matters that were dealt with the past. So we did consider the decided cases, the court judgments, and I think from the court judgments we made observations and we agreed on the issues that have been decided by the court and the lessons that we've drawn. So that was done. That definitely was done. I'm going to hand over to Advocate Jenkins and the team if there are any specific issues that they may want to deal with. One of the points that is raised by Honorable Ndlozi, the reference to the party as opposed to the individuals who needs to be charged. I think honorable members will remember that we viewed two videos, and where we were very clear was on the second video that took place during the budget vote speech of Minister Kodan, where we were able to identify the members who in our view were transgressing. So we identified them individually. But on the first incident in the SONA, that's where the difficulty was, and that's where we said we needed to have an opinion as to how, given all these issues that are a bit unclear to us, how then do we proceed? And as we can see in our minutes, we haven't identified the persons. 6.2, no, on page number 2. After a long deliberation, we did not identify the persons. And I was also having a question as to if we proceed, we charge the members. Who are those members that we were going to charge? Because the viewing of the video was not identifying the person, but I'm sure maybe that can be clarified. Honorable Lotridge, do you also wanted to comment on that before I hand over to Advocate Jenkins?
Yes, Chairperson, I also just wanted to say, and you have covered me in that the documents could be made available to Honourable Ndlozi, but I think it is important that we note that this opinion was to determine our jurisdiction in this matter and the way forward. We're very far from still having an opinion ourselves and making any specific decisions. So this is very much in the pre-stage, and therefore I would very much support this opinion. It gives us direction as to where we have to go now.
Okay. All right, Advocate Jenkins. And
Thank you. Thank you, Chairperson.
added cases, maybe let's talk to the issue of the court judgments, which is a matter that we discussed in our first meeting.
Yes, Chair. We discussed those court judgments. I mean, I think what would be useful is if I can see or be referred to the exact cases that Honorable Ndlozi is referring to. But the cases we discussed, there were two. One that led to an amendment to the Powers and Privileges Act, which is not really relevant for this specific referral because that deals with, and it was almost on an academic question, whether a person identified in the act includes a member that can be arrested for causing a disturbance in the precincts. And that was one court case. That one doesn't touch on, or there is no direct bearing on the proceedings of this committee's work. The other court case, of course, was the one where in 2014, where certain members were charged in terms of the act and were then put in a disciplinary process as envisaged and contemplated in Section 12 of the Act. And then that was taken on review to court, but that was not a challenge to the Act itself. That was a challenge to the proceedings of the committee. And in the end, the High Court, Cape High Court, agreed with Parliament that the proceedings were then fair as required in terms of the Act. So, Chair, what Honourable Lottery has said in terms of this, now the second one, and please stop me if you need to, because those are the two court cases we looked at in the beginning when we started. Chair, what Honourable Lottery is saying is correct. As I understand the instructions from the committee, we needed to get some sort of first-hand or prima facie view of an outside person on one of the questions, which was, is this within contempt? And as my colleague, Ms. Gangan, has pointed out, counsel is saying, do the investigation, do that preliminary investigation and see if there are charges that should be done. If there are, of course, people will get their view, whoever is being charged. So it's at that point, as you correctly indicated, Chair, that we will identify various members, because we looked at the video, and I'm talking about the first incident, which we got the legal opinion on, as let's not identify certain members. So there's no finding, no specific allegations or anything made at this point in time. So while I agree with Honourable Ndlozi, when we get into the procedure, it's not a political party we charge. We would be looking then specifically at members of the National Assembly and not just members of a political party. He's 100% correct, but we're not there yet, Chair. So I understand what he's saying. So I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
Chair.
That was the response on the question of the court judgments, on the question of. Can I just finish? I don't know who's speaking.
It's fine, sir. I had the end, but I'm under your guidance. That's fine. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll come back to you. You're saying on the two issues that we have raised, I think that is the response. I think from both myself, Honourable Lottery, and Advocate Advocate Jenkins. So, is there anything? I'm also opening it up to all the members to engage with the opinion. I think there are two issues that the opinion is saying to us. The first one is that we cannot determine whether there was contempt or there was no contempt. That is going to be something that will have to be determined at the end of our process. And then the second one on the jurisdiction, the opinion says this committee does have jurisdiction to consider this matter that has been referred to us. So mainly that is the two fundamental points that are raised by the opinion. So I'm going to open for members to engage with the opinion. And as we engage, please make proposals as to the way forward. So we'll start with Honorable Ndlozi. I don't know who else is going to come. For now, it's Honorable Ndlozi. Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks, Chair. The response from Jenkins is very dishonest. I mean, in an intellectual way, not in some deeply moral way. And I don't know why he would respond like that, because the substance of my argument is that you couldn't refer to people like that. You couldn't write a legal opinion. And I said that if the origins of this referral is the speaker herself, it is also equally wrong. So if you look at the introduction, it says that we have this case that has been referred to us in which EFF members raised several points of orders. And then no EFF member was removed, no EFF. And then this is what the legal opinion is considering, is going to advise us on. I'm saying this is wrong. The speaker must refer a member, a specific member, member X contravened rule this. And then the complaint comes to us. You couldn't say EFF members were raising point of orders. Let us therefore take them to the Powers and Privileges Committee. You couldn't do that. And I'm saying that violates, as he says in the end, the 100% agreement that you can't do that. It doesn't make sense at all. So if the speaker referred EFF members to who are raising point of orders to the Powers and Privileges Committee, she must be told that there's no such a thing. She must tell us which member and that member broke which rule, such that they must be brought to us. Which leads me to precisely the recommendation here. There is nothing. If you read the minutes, I wasn't there, Honorable Chairperson, I accept. But the documents that have been prepared for this meeting, you have already watched the video. You came to the conclusion that you could not say which member is wrong or must be selected. You said that yourself, even in your response now, that was the minute that you've just adopted. So what are we still doing? This matter, in my view, is closed. Unless the speaker then says she wants Honorable Ndlozi to be brought to the Powers and Privileges Committee for raising an invalid point of order. And that's what the Powers and Privileges Committee must be seized with. I would doubt it very much. So the matter is closed. There's nothing you can do about the SONA. Nothing outside the rules happened. There's nothing. Members raised point of orders as it is their right. They were told to sit down, or they were told their point of orders were wrong. And it's not just EFF members. If you genuinely watch the video, it's a matter of public record. A whole set of members of parliament, even outside the EFF benches, raised several points of orders. And there were several rulings on these points of orders. The House was suspended. And then when the House resumed, members of the EFF or several members in the benches of the EFF voluntarily left. That's it. The matter is closed. There is nothing else you can do, because there is no single instance in the House in which the speaker, otherwise she would have done that. She would have brought it to us that I asked this member to leave. This member refused. She had to be physically removed. And as a result, I want her to be referred to the Powers and Privileges Committee for that conduct of refusing a direct instruction from the order, from the presidium, or from the speaker, or from the House chairperson, whatever the case might be. In relation to this case, there's nothing you can do. That's my position. We should lay to rest, write to the speaker, say that firstly, you don't refer parties to us. Secondly, we have studied the video. We don't see anything wrong, and the matter is closed. Then we can deal with the second matter. I see prospects there on your second matter in the way that you have proceeded. Certainly that one gives us a lot of jam to deal with. And then the last point, respectfully, Chairperson, is that don't say that this is a preliminary thing. You've already watched the video. Are you going to want to make us watch the video again and do the exercise again of saying, okay, we must charge this member because he's raising a point of order, and that member? If your starting point is the EFF, my view is you're going to be embarrassed by the courts. Resist from that thing. Resist. Don't even proceed with the principle called we are considering, we're going to open a video and watch EFF members and how they conduct themselves. You've already made up your mind. And there can't be a fair process that begins like that. And certainly, I think even if we were to repeat that exercise with an objective eye, you're not going to arrive at any substantial issue that requires the attention of the Powers and Privileges Committee. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Ndlozi. I think you've made your proposals and your observations, and I think we will allow other members to also do the same. Remember, members, we are interrogating the opinion and we are deciding on the way forward. It is the opinion that has been requested by ourselves, which was supposed to help us to raise the two issues, the issue of jurisdiction and the issue of content. But I note that the proposal by Honorable Ndlozi that we must close the matter, but other members will speak to that. Honorable Lotridge and then Honorable Lakude.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Putting aside the aspersions cast on the members of the committee, I would just want to reiterate that I fully support the opinion and that is the way to go. I would also want to state that we would be in remiss of our duties as members of this committee if we were just to shut down any case without going due process. And Chairperson, at this point, we are not yet discussing the substantive merits of the matter. We are busy with the procedural part, and therefore I would urge you that we accept the opinion and that we then plan on how we take the matter further. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Honorable Lakude, followed by Honorable Suela.
Thanks, Honorable Chairperson. Let me take this opportunity to welcome the legal opinion by the state law advisors. And I want to agree with Advocate Jenkins that we are not yet on the substantive matters. Here we're dealing with the legal opinion, of which I agree with. So it cannot be correct that we say the committee must just leave everything else because there's no evidence. We are not yet there. We are still going there. And if it calls for us to go back to the video so that we identify any member who transgressed on that day, we will do that. It is our responsibility as members of this committee to do a thorough job so that whatever conclusion we come up with is credible. So I agree with the legal opinion, and I agree with that. As a committee, we have a duty and responsibility to do what is expected of us. Whether there is a case against people or there's no case, it cannot be that in this meeting we said, no, let's shut down. Our responsibility is to make sure that we do a thorough job. Incredible. Thank you, Chairperson.
Okay, Suela.
Thanks, Chairperson. Let me join those other honorable members who are saying we are here to interrogate or to listen to the opinion presented by our legal reps here. I want to support that we agree with this legal opinion because it's our responsibility as this committee to make sure that we protect the decorum of the House. I don't want to dwell much on what other honorable members has said, in particular, Honorable Ndlozi. We must just ignore the issue of parties here and deal with the matter, whether the action or the behavior was coming from any other member. Our responsibility is to deal with the issues following the rules properly. I believe we are not yet there. We can't really now determine whether there are wrongdoings or not. I just want to support that. We agree with this legal opinion. If in case we are supposed to go back to the videos, that should be our responsibility. And I agree that each member must be given an opportunity to relate his or her story, to apply that principle of hearing both sides. So I'm supporting the what you call the opinion given before us, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Suela. Honorable Peters will be the last.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I think I've been covered by Honorable Tlakude and Honorable Siwela. And I also think that you made reference to it earlier on that we got the opinion that we sought, and we are now satisfied as this committee that the referral to the committee is in line with the Powers and Privileges Act requirements. Just to advocate Jenkins, in the opinion at the end, it says the opinion can still be amended. So I just help me understand that particular line, because does it mean this opinion is not conclusive? If that is the case, then it means that there's still work that the legal team was working on. But I also would want to take this opportunity to advise Honorable Ndlozi as a member of this committee to hold his horses, because we are not yet into discussing the merits and demerits of the case. So I would ask him to please hang on. The matter is still going to come, and you will get that particular opportunity. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Peters. Maybe just to summarize the discussion and a way forward. The first issue, I think that the first point that I think we must make is that at this point, the committee is not dealing with the merits or the substance of what exactly happened on the day of the SONA. We are not yet there, whether there was contempt or there was no contempt. All what we are dealing with now is the two questions which we have asked that we must be clarified as part of us going forward. Now, the legal opinion that we sought was to raise two issues, as I said, two fundamental issues. The first one was whether this committee has got jurisdiction to consider the referral by the Speaker of the incident that happened, given all the views that were expressed in the meeting when we viewed the video. So the opinion says this committee does have jurisdiction to consider the matter and to make a conclusion either for or against it will have to be the conclusion of the committee. The first issue, the second issue was the question of contempt, whether there was contempt of parliament in what has happened during the SONA incident. And the opinion is saying to us that it is premature to arrive at that point yet. All what needs to happen is that the committee must allow the process to identify those against whom there are issues, there are charges that are supposed to be brought, and to allow them to make a representation. And on the basis of the representation is then that the committee can then decide whether we proceed or we don't proceed. And I think the point that Honorable Ndlozi is making is also a bit premature to say that we must abandon the process, because the legal opinion is saying to us that we've got jurisdiction to listen to it, but before we make any conclusion, we must allow everybody else to make submissions, and on the basis of that is then that we can decide how we move forward. So the question that then follows is then, how then do we identify those members who are alleged to have caused the disruption that happened? Now it is for this committee then to deal with that matter. On the second issue, we identified those members by looking at the videos, and I think we were assisted by Parliament in order to identify the persons, and we did identify them, and that's why we're able to prefer to identify them, to say these are the members who must be charged, and then we must take them through the process. So on the incident of SONA, we then have to also do the same thing, to identify those members, as the opinion is saying, to give them an opportunity to make a written representation or whatever kind of representation that we will be taking. But I think the general view that I'm picking up is that the committee is satisfied with the opinion. The committee does accept the opinion, and the opinion says, therefore, that we must then move forward to then deal with the merits of what happened on the day of the SONA. Now, I think the way forward is that, honorable members, that we will have to move forward, and the only way that we can move forward is for us to be able to identify those members and then ask them to make a representation on the charges that will be put in before them, and then we will take it from there. I think Honorable Ndlozi's point will then come, whether do we decide to proceed or not to proceed given the representation. I think that is we will cross that bridge when we come to that bridge. But I think also reference to EFF members, it is not something that was coined by this committee. It is something that came as referred. That's why even ourselves, when we refer to the legal opinion, we did refer to how that formulation came from the office of the speaker. But whether the speaker was right in referring to those members as members of a political party, I think it's a matter that we'll also discuss when we deal with the merits. But for now, that's how we've received it from the office of the speaker. And the opinion says this committee has got jurisdiction. And I think we're going to proceed as per the advice of the opinion. I think this therefore summarizes the discussions on this matter, honorable members. And the way forward is that we will have to go back to the video to identify members. Honorable Ndlozi.
Okay, thanks, Chair. I'd like it to be on record that we seriously object to this decision of the committee. I'd like my objection to be put on the record. There's no legal grounds to entertain a complaint that treats members of parliament as a group of a political party. You do not have that jurisdiction. The people of South Africa have decided that the EFF must be in that parliament. And once they are in there, a member must be referred. The legal opinion itself, in its highly contradictory nature, says this. It quotes from the procedure rules that a member must be referred to us, not a political party. The Powers and Privileges Committee has no jurisdiction over a political party. There's no such a thing. And it is therefore fundamentally wrong. And I object. I'd like this to be put on record because it will help us later if there has to be any legal procedure that must be taken outside with the court of law. There's no such a thing. You couldn't, as a point of, you couldn't entertain, even the speaker is wrong to have referred a complaint called the EFF members are doing 1, 2, 3, 4. There's no such a thing. And I strongly object. I'd like it to be put on the record. What we should be doing, and I don't think I'm disagreeing at all. You can subject anyone to a procedure. What we should be entertaining is member X, who has been brought to us, and he has been brought to us because the speaker says this is what they've violated. Then we investigate if indeed such a person has violated X and give them a chance to come and answer a violation of X. At this stage, what you are going to do, I don't know what it is. I don't know, you are going to call members of the EFF. Even on the video, you're going to watch them doing what? What has been said to us? We are going to have to decide that they are breaking which rule.
Okay.
That can't be justice.
All right.
We can't be the investigators and also be the judges. It can't. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we note that objection by Honorable Ndlozi, and it will be minuted as such that Honorable Ndlozi is objecting to this way forward by the committee. That the committee has got jurisdiction in terms of the legal opinion to consider the matter that has been referred to by the speaker. That we are going to proceed and then identify the members against whom charges would then be brought as per the rules is objecting, and I think that we should minute his objection as such. Thank you very much. Can we move then to the next item? Namhla, External Initiator. On and I heard and Advocate Jenkins saying there is a process to appoint a counsel for the inquiry for the two issues. And maybe if you can just get to that point, will then be presented with the names of the individuals that would have been identified by legal services in consultation with the office of the speaker. And then we will then finalize the matter and then decide on the date. And in consultation with that external initiator, then specific charges will then be drawn on the incident that involved the budget vote speech of the Minister Gordhan. We have already identified the persons there or the members, and it's all for the and then decide on the dates that we'll be hearing. Firstly, to receive the representations, and then to schedule if there is a need to schedule for the hearing. So we will rely on legal services on this one, Advocate Jenkins.
Chairperson, thank you. Chair, if I may, Honorable Deepers asked a question around the legal opinion, Chair, that has not been answered. I want to answer that with your permission.
Yeah.
Just what it. Thank you.
Yeah.
All that it means is that should the committee then enter into the inquiry regarding that incident that we discussed just now, and after getting the various viewpoints of people involved in the incident, if the committee to give us that advice, if I may add, Chair, maybe with a little bit of just, of course, so it's for the committee to decide if so the legal advice as it stands. Chair, I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Mr. Andile, who has now briefed counsel for this process that the committee wants to undertake or must undertake. Chair, if I may, I'll just hand over to him.
Andile.
Honorable members, colleagues, good morning. 2020, the committee resolved to appoint an initiator in terms of item 5 of the schedule to the rules. Now, if you look at page 4, paragraph 2 of the adopted minutes of the said meeting, a point is made there that the chairperson was of the firm view that the appointment of the initiator can be decided by the speaker in order to allow the committee to process this matter. That meant, chairperson, that the committee divested itself of the right to be presented with names in order to appoint suitable counsel from those names. I am pleased to inform the committee chairperson that the initiator has been appointed. Her name is Advocate Mayosi. She has extensive experience in litigation. She has been briefed by Parliament previously. Her areas of expertise include constitutional and administrative law. She has 12 years experience as junior counsel. I can confirm that counsel has been placed in receipt of all the necessary documentation in this matter, including the video footage of the incident in question. I can also confirm that counsel is able, capable, ready, and willing to be of assistance to the committee regarding this matter. Now, as regards the way forward, chairperson, the committee should chart a way forward regarding when will it convene to commence with the inquiry that is suitable dates, so that council can proceed with issues of finalizing charges against affected members and service of notices containing charges on the affected members. So that's where we are, chairperson, in a nutshell.
Okay. Thank you very much, Andile. I must confirm that it was our view that there is no need for us to receive the 3 names, that because we wanted to move as quickly as possible, that the office of the speaker should finalize the initiator and then allocate the initiator to us, so that I can confirm that it was definitely what we insisted in view of us moving with the necessary speed. On the other matters, I think we welcome the appointment of Advocate Mayosi to be the external initiator of this inquiry. And I'm going to open for members to make proposals as to the way forward. I think What it means is that we have to finalize the program of the committee, and according to that program, then the advocate can work. But I think before we finalize the program, we might need to also touch base with the external initiator so that issues around availability and how we should structure the program, we also need to get some advice there. Let's open for members for now to comment on the feedback that we are receiving from Parliament. Is it the Honorable Glozy? I see your hand is up. Was it for the previous item or was it for this one?
No, Chair, I'm with you on the current item.
You want to speak?
Of course, you have said we must speak.
Okay, you'll be the first.
Thank you. I want to indicate I'm noticing that there's already because when we were discussing in the last item, it was like we're still making up our minds. So there's already a decision for the appointment of an initiator prior to a decision on what the opinion or the legal opinion said.
Okay, can I just clarify you on this one?
Or
yeah, this is for the matter, this is for the incident that happened during the budget speech of Minister Kota. The conclusion that we reached was that we need to go ahead. Those members having been identified, we must prepare the charges and we need to be assisted. It is not for the SONA incident.
So the initiator we are discussing is not in relation to the SONA incident.
It's in relation to the incident budget, which happened during the budget vote. But as I heard Advocate, but that is subject to the committee proceeding. If the committee decides to proceed, we will then have to discuss the initiator. But if the committee decides not to proceed, then the matter is dead. We are discussing the budget vote speech. We are not discussing the SONA. Just so we are on the same page. The program that we will develop for the initiator to then serve the charges and all of that, it is for the budget vote speech of Minister Kodan. We have agreed earlier on that we will come back and view the video of the SONA incident and take it from there. I just thought that maybe I need to clarify that point.
No, Chairperson, the clarity indeed helps. So it means I'm catching the other process at its very advanced stage. And it's okay. I had problems with, I think that the details of the appointed person must be given to us. They should have been part of today's documents. Those things that, I don't know, I can't recall the member of staff that was telling us who the person is, this profile of 12 years and all of that. We should have been finished with that in writing and not be just spoken to. So I would request that whatever he was reading must be given to us still, so that we know what we're dealing with. Thanks.
Okay, I think that's in order. It should be, the CV should be circulated to the members. I think that's a reasonable request. It should be like that. I saw a hand, Honorable Siwela.
Thank you, Chairperson. I just want to support the presentation made by Andile, that we accept the decision of the Speaker of appointing that external initiator in the name of Advocate Mayos. Welcome here. at the same time supporting what Honorable Ndozi has indicated, that we be given or we be furnished with a CV. I think that is in order, but we really accept her appointment and congratulations to her. We believe she will deliver. Again, also to agree on the program which she's going to follow in dealing with this matter. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Honorable Suela. I saw the hand of the Deputy Chief Whip. Are you covered, Honorable Tlhapudi?
I'm covered, Honorable Chair, by Honorable Suel. I just wanted to welcome the appointment and the speed with which Parliament moved to appoint the initiator. We welcome that. And also to say that, Chairperson, I want to apologize for not knowing about this meeting. I didn't receive documents. I didn't receive a invitation. I just got that from your good selves when you called me. So we will update our email addresses because maybe the invitation went to the parliamentary email addresses, which some of us are not using. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that we did raise that apology earlier on, and I think Namhla, we have agreed she will then contact members individually and make sure that she's got the correct details, the email, the telephone numbers, and so forth. So what I'm picking up is that we do accept the person, Advocate Mayosi, who has been appointed as the initiator for this inquiry. We welcome this appointment. There is a request which is in order that the CV or the profile has to be circulated to the members. And I hope that will be done after this meeting. And I think what will happen is that we will then, myself and the support team, sit down, probably together with the Advocate Mayosi, and then decide on the program. And then as soon as we have finalized the program, we will then circulate it to all the members. We will do that, give sufficient notice to the members. Taking into consideration these matters have long been on the agenda of this committee. And the sooner we deal with them, the better. So we'll consider that and finalize the program and then circulate it to everybody. But I guess as agreed in the last meeting, we will be proceeding with the inquiry regarding that matter of the budget board speech. I think we have come to the end of the meeting, honorable members. I just need to find out if there's anything that we have left behind that we need to deal with. Any comment from the members?
Nothing, Chairperson. This has been a good meeting. We support that we close the meeting.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, honorable members. I was not going to proceed because we were struggling with the quorum, but thanks to members who immediately when they were alerted that this meeting is taking place, immediately came and logged in. Some of them, I know, Honorable Tlhapudi, you left another meeting where you were busy with this because you understood that we needed to finalize the matters brought to us on this one, and you came. And I think Honorable Madoda, other members, Honorable Peters was also not aware. So, but thank you all of you members for coming, for continuing with the support. And I think in the meeting with the finalize the program, we will also have to find enough time to sit and consider the SONA regarding that incident. This committee does have a Twitter as referred to us by the speaker. And then what we will then do, we will then identify the process. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.